So my most recent project has been trying to figure out a way to safely store all of my other projects, other than the 68 Mustang and the tools, and that stuff's out in the garage, so it's out of sight, out of mind. We've accumulated quite a few things from some of our cosplay projects. I've got my blaster for my Mandalorian costume, my wife's Ion Disruptor, the Jawa blaster, Cobra Commander's helm. Fortunately enough, my wife's Baroness costume packs up very neatly into one box. Then of course there's the random Stormtrooper helms that we bought. I was discussing this issue with my dad because he's normally where I go to do all my woodworking stuff because he's got all the woodworking tools. And he was like, hey, you should use a French cleat system. And I didn't know what that was. So he showed me where he had used it in a couple applications, and I thought that that would be a perfect example, perfect thing to work on here. It's very modular, very flexible, and because I can work metal and or wood, I can create pretty much any sort of bracket that I need for whatever it is that I need to do. I've got brackets for hanging helmets, I've got brackets for hanging blasters. We eventually plan to move a bunch of our other cosplay related stuff onto the wall, so I have complete and total flexibility. The system's very easy to put together, it's very inexpensive in the grand scheme of things, and way more convenient to put custom brackets together than, for instance, a pegboard system or pretty much anything else I could think of hanging. The French cleat system is also incredibly strong. As long as you can keep the vast majority of the weight hanging from a bracket lower than where the bracket fastens, it will hold an incredible amount of weight for being a fairly small compact system. So we started out with some 1x3 poplar. Actual measurements were 2.5 by 3/4. As we saved these two pieces here, and we will continue to save these two pieces, they'll be our future templates in case I need to make more railing or more bracket pieces, which I will eventually need more bracket pieces. I know exactly what I bought, and I know exactly where to get it, and what size, and what angles that we cut it at.
We started out with cutting the two template pieces 6 inches. We figured that was plenty wide enough to give us the consistency that we needed when we were using these as spacers between each one of the shelves. Set the table saw at 45-degree angle, cut those two pieces off. Did this more or as much to verify that everything was working and kind of test our procedure a little bit. Once we knew everything worked well and we had the right angle, we ran all 7 pieces through the table saw, cutting 45-degree angle to create the actual pieces that bolt to the wall. I sanded them down, cleaned them off, and then gave them a couple of good coats of interior grade white that matched the rest of the room, the shelves and closets and stuff like that.
So once I had everything painted and was ready to hang up, I located all the studs in the walls, I drilled pilot holes in the appropriate places for each one of the boards, then I drew countersink holes. I needed the heads of the screws to be below. One, it would look a little nicer. Two, it would be easier for the brackets to slide because some of the brackets actually extend down as far as the board is, just to make it so that the weight is a little lower if I'm going to be hanging something particularly heavy, some of the helmets and the blasters and stuff like that. Started in that corner, I drilled one hole in the stud, put this first piece up, then I put a level on this whole board. Once I had the board up and leveled, I used the spacers and a T-square. I used the T-square to make sure that the edges were all lined up, and then I used the spacers, put the spacers in between each one of them, butted them up against there, and screwed them in.
Filled the holes in the boards with wood putty and the holes in the walls with spackle, and then sanded everything down. Went out in the garage and got the can of blue paint and started painting, and was wondering if this stuff was going to dry a little lighter than it was going on because it really looked like the right lid. Turns out that it wasn't the right paint, so I probably misplaced a lid at some point in time. Yeah, I got the whole wall painted, and anyways, time to start all over again. And while I was waiting for the wrong color blue paint to dry, I sanded all of the wood filler in the boards, went to Lowe's and got another gallon of the appropriate color blue, and covered up my mistakes before anybody even knew that it happened. Once I had all of the blue painted over and touched up, I went over and touched up the white on the rails. Most of the brackets are made with 2-inch lengths of another piece that's cut the same length and dimension. For the first set of brackets, I drilled a hole in the back of them, stuck a dowel rod through, and glued the backside. For the second half, I took some flat stock steel that I had, bent it into kind of an S shape, and then squared it over to make a bracket for hanging the helms. And that keeps the helm a little closer to the wall, but still gives it plenty of strength and structure to hold particularly my Mandalorian bucket, which is made out of steel. It weighs a little bit. The third bracket style I don't actually have any video footage of, but it's essentially the same kind of steel that I used. I just bent it into a U, and those are the ones that I used to hang some of the other blasters. To create the crowns that hold the helmets on, I just took some more of that flat stock, bent it around that same brake drum, and welded it into a cross shape, and then welded it to the ends of the other pieces.
So, like I said, really versatile, really flexible system, plenty of strength as long as I design the brackets and make the brackets so that they don't fall down or break. I'm not worried about the wall brackets not holding everything up. When I get bored, I rearrange it regularly just because I can. And I'm in the process of adding a bunch of other brackets and potentially shelves. There's just a lot that I can do with this, so I'm looking forward to it. System has worked out really, really well. Through the end of the video, who knows, maybe there'll be somebody else out there that sees this and goes, hey, that's a good idea. Anyways, have a great day, and I will see you next time.